Venlil TV archive transcription 77888830011335. Show Against the Herd. Weekly news show aired on Channel 74. Original air date February 3rd, 2137. The chipper theme tune of the show plays as the title screen rolls around, showing various patriotic pictures of Venlil Prime, ending with the words "Against the Herd," with Kurlik in logo form. Scene. Camera pans in on a Venlil called Kurlik sitting at a desk, holopad in front of him. Kurlik: "Good day or good stars wherever you are on Venlil Prime. I'm Kurlik and this is Against the Herd." Kurlik: "Our top stories tonight. With predators on the loose in the capital and roaming the streets is a plant-based earth poison called capsaicin, the way to make you less appetizing. With the spiraling economy due to the disastrous actions of Governor Tarva, is the new Federation-backed cryptocurrency FedCoin the way to keep your investments safe? More on those later, but first to our main story." Kurlik: "Humans. I don't need to introduce these predators to you, unless you've just climbed out of a year-long vacation in an emergency shelter. The so-called Governor Tarva and the government have repeatedly stated that these predators are safe to roam the streets where our children play. While currently there have been no known attacks by humans, we have gotten leaks of the predation methods that humans don't want you to know about. They are persistence hunters. They are willing to wait." Scene. The camera switches to a closer, more intimate view on the host. His tail and ears move in a more solemn manner. Kurlik: "However, dear truth seekers, I must inform you that I was wrong. It happens to the best of us, and we must always seek the truth no matter what. I no longer believe that humans intend to prey on us through long-term persistence hunting. No, the truth is far, far worse. Humans hunger for a different type of flesh, one that wants to enslave and twist the very nature of what makes us Venlil." Kurlik: "Through numerous sources we can determine the predator's true plan, to make us compliant and subservient not through conquest but through genetic manipulation. Through them entrapping prey in various relationships, also known as predator fever." Kurlik: "I have warned against this on this show, of Venlil being entrapped by humanity's bait. Predator disease cases have increased by 400%, and we are now seeing Venlil murdering other prey as if they are vicious beasts. We must be wary of our daughters and our sons falling foul of such ensnarements, and I now believe that this is the predator's end plan to destroy us all." Scene. Kurlik gets up to walk over to an animated screen, already showing the image of a vague humanoid shape. Kurlik: "Some of you might consider this some crazed conspiracy, but the fact is simple. These predators have already done this several times before. Earth used to have several different species of intelligent primate, not just humans. These were all driven extinct. Many would assume that these were driven to extinction through violence, as that is the nature of predators, but the truth is far more sinister. They were bred out of existence, an entire species laid to waste due to the same predator fever that now impacts our herd." Scene. The infographic changes once more, this time to an image of an earth predator, wolf, heavily redacted for Venlil viewing. Kurlik: "It doesn't just stay with primates. While this image might seem distressing, it's important to realize the exact danger this predator fever has on us all. This is a wolf, a ferocious earth predator, one so feared that countless human tales talk about their evil and destruction." Scene. An additional image is added to the screen, showing a pug, disfigured snout and side-facing eyes, unredacted due to their predatory nature having been bred out of them. Kurlik's tail is moving in a warning, animated fashion. Kurlik: "This is what wolves look like after humans are finished with them. Yes, my viewers, these two species are the same. While this predator fever might seem like harmless fun to the unruly cubs of this generation, this is the danger we now face. Because if these humans can do this to a fellow predator, what will they do with the Venlil?" Scene. View changes once again to show a closer shot of Kurlik, who has returned to more calming tail motions. Kurlik: "But how do humans do this mind control? How is this impacting the good people of Venlil Prime? Just how high in our own government has this fever spread?" "I went out into the streets to investigate." Scene. Camera changes to show a pre-recorded segment. Starts off with various generic wide-angle shots of herds of Venlil moving through the streets of Venlil Prime as Kurlex provides a voiceover. Kurlex voiceover. Humans. The predators are everywhere. Places safe from their meat-eating presence are becoming a greater rarity day by day as they infect more and more of Venlil Prime. The last presumed sanctity was the safety of your herd. But with the increase in prey plus predator relationships, is a human going to be brought to your next meeting with your children? Scene. The video changes to pictures of Venlil crowding around the initial arrival of the human refugees. Many of them are carrying pro-human signs, including phrases such as, "We're delicious." This eventually switches to images of Venlil and humans together. Kurlek. While there always were a few predator disease-afflicted individuals communicating their desires through coded rainbow-colored clothing, it has gotten to the point of these joinings far surpassing any reasonable expectation. Such scandalous actions might be considered normal for a Krakal or even a Xyrillian, but for it to affect our very own, here on Venlil Prime, scene. Switches to Kurlek walking towards the camera while talking on a busy Venlil city street. Kurlek. Clearly something else is going on here. Something deadly. Something the predators don't want you to know about. Experts on the subject suggest a variety of theories. Some suggest that the deep growling tones of a human's voice can cause reverberations in the inner ear, causing confusion and susceptibility. Other theories involve the eyes. While we know forward-facing eyes are designed to track and capture prey, does the position also have an hypnotic effect, forcing unfortunate prey to do their evil bidding? Kurlek. Both these claims have been corroborated by those unfortunate enough to be within contact of the predators. One brave truth-seeker, a Krakatl who went by the name of Last Defense, 233 on Bleeder, wrote of his contact with humans. Scene. Switches to a text representation of the bleat while the text is read out. Kurlek. Last Defense 233 wrote, "I believe that humans evolved not to pursue their prey, but to hypnotize them. Ever since I made eye contact with the beast, my thoughts have been on him just like his eyes. His singing has also implanted itself in my brain. I suspect that the human voice has hypnotic qualities as well, and the beast is using it to break my will." Scene. Switches back to Kurlek in the street. Kurlek. Unfortunately, the Last Defense hasn't posted for 2 months. We can only hope that he was sturdy in his resolve and is still alive and fighting against the predator influence. Kurlek. It isn't all despair, however, as many have been fighting back against this predatorial trickery, as I found out when I asked the residents of Venlil Prime what they thought. Scene. Switches to an on-street view of an older male Venlil with gray wool. The caption at the bottom reads, "Local pillar of the community, random Venlil. 1. It's a disgrace, walking around in public in their own predator-tainted herds, endangering us all. Frankly, something needs to be done about it before the worst happens." Scene. View switches again to a younger female Venlil holding 2 squirming and energetic young pups. The caption at the bottom reads, "Heroic mother of 2, random Venlil 2. What am I supposed to tell my pups when they see these deviants walking down the street? How do I tell them about this new spreading predator disease? That they can't visit their Aunt Blim because it's not safe anymore? The predators are even in the schools now. Nowhere is safe for my pups." Scene. The scene switches one last time to an older male Venlil in an old military uniform. Caption reads, "Honored military veteran, random Venlil 3. Is this why I served? Is this why I had to face those Hing Greys? So these traitors could prance around with the enemy like they're a slutty Krakatl? Is this really what it was all for?" Scene. The video switches to show a male human sitting on a bench, mask half open. Confusion on his face is evident as he sits with a half-eaten sandwich in one hand, looking up at an unseen questioner. The first half of the audio is muted as Kurlek provides narration. Caption at the bottom reads, "Pervert Predator." Kurlek narration. Even the humans themselves seem to realize the predatory depravity of these actions, denying their actions when asked. Human. What? Why would someone just come up to me and ask such a question? What is wrong with you? Estala is a bloody space bird, for God's sake. Why do people keep asking me this? Scene. For a moment in the background, the distant sound of a crocodile shouting angrily the words, "What the spay are you all doing?" before the scene switches once again to the sight of Kurlek standing in another street. Kurlek. But not all Venlil are so negative about this new invasion on Venlil Prime. Some of them, the ones infected with this predator fever, claim this to be a good thing. They claim the relationships with the flesh-eaters are earnest and empathetic. We here on Against the Herd managed to track down the first confirmed case for an exclusive interview. Scene. Switches to show 3 figures sitting in a generic gray-walled room. On the left is Kurlek, with the right 2 seats being filled with a male white woolen Venlil and a female human, both holding hands. The title states the names Valek and Maeve respectively, giving them the job title Predator Fever Enthusiasts. The human is maskless, but wearing a hair covering. Kurlek. So I understand you both have been a couple since the first ever exchange meetings, hitting it off during your first in-person exchange meeting? Scene. Maeve gives a smile while holding Valek slightly tighter, maintaining eye contact which Kurlek holds under with no apparent discomfort. Maeve. We confessed on the station, yes. Kurlek. So for our human, how does it feel to have successfully entrapped someone during your first day? Scene. This statement causes Maeve to laugh slightly to still no reaction from either Venlil. Maeve. That would actually be one for Valek. He was the one who captured me, on the 3rd day by human reckoning, I will add. Kurlek. Of course, from your side, Valek, what exactly about the human led you to become ensnared in her charms? Scene. Question causes Valek to bloom a slight orange, tail moving happily as he speaks before being wrapped around Maeve's arm. Valek. We liked, and still like, to play a question game. I ask a question, then she does, and we answer honestly. We were talking about human blushing and Venlil blooming. We couldn't exactly keep our feelings secret after that. Kurlek. For Maeve, was this success something the UN trained you to do? This intelligence-gathering question game? Or was your quarry entirely of your own doing? Maeve. We had no knowledge or training of Venlil courtship rituals. We both walked into this blind. As to the question game, such things were actually expressly forbidden by the program. We both would have been in serious trouble if some of our answers were overheard. Scene. Kurlek leans in slightly closer, never dropping eye contact. Kurlek. So the ability to manipulate emotional relationships didn't require in-depth knowledge about the Venlil and could be used on other Federation species? Maeve. Honestly, as charismatic as Valek was, I thought you guys were briefed on us. This little trickster played me like an Ailish. Kurlek. Going back to the herd, how did bringing such an interesting outside influence impact your family? Were they worried about the effects of such an infection? Scene. Valek's tail unwinds from Maeve's arm and starts to signal wariness. Valek. Infection? There is no such thing. Humans make friends just like any Venlil with time and honest conversation. Kurlek. I understand there was a 3rd Venlil added very quickly to your herd, spreading rather like a fever. Speaking of which, I understand from medical reports there was a predator incident shortly after the human arrived on Venlil Prime. Scene. Valek starts to become more agitated and bothered, tail movements signaling discomfort and annoyance. Valek. The human is Maeve. Kurlek. And it was attacked, yes? Valek. She saved my mother and my friend from Shadestalkers and almost lost her arm because of it. We are all eternally grateful for her being there. Kurlek. Humans have managed to tame feral predators, correct? One similar to the Shadestalkers who plague our hard-working farming communities? Scene. The accusation seems to further increase the erratic, agitated movements of Valek, as Maeve interjects. Maeve. Funny thing about that, we actually ended more predator species than currently exist on our planet. We observed that local ecosystems collapsed from their absence, so we fully reversed our position and focused on preservation and conservation, not just for the predator, but for the ecosystems they support. Kurlek. So do you support more shade stalkers and rural farming communities? Was this an attempted integration of your ecosystem ideology that backfired into yourself? Scene. Maeve gives a smile as if she just got a joke, returning the accusatory statement with a confident stare-down of her own. Maeve. You're losing your subtlety, Vic. Humans believe in maintaining a healthy ecosystem. We remove species just as much as we maintain them. Rural farmland is not a healthy ecosystem for the shade stalkers, as they are native to unsettleable parts of twilight and night. Human policy and action would eagerly remove shade stalkers from established settlements. Scene. Kurlek seems to reduce the intensity slightly as he changes the tone of the interview. Kurlek. We do seem to have gotten off topic slightly, moving back to the positives of pairing such as yourselves with a question for Valak. How do you believe this new trend of predator fever, as some commentators are calling it, will impact the reintegration of the poor souls who were recently rescued from predator clutches? Scene. The mention of this causes Valak to get more agitated, tail flicking aggressively as he goes on the offensive. Valak. I think I missed that news segment, Kurlek. I would love to know who rescued those poor souls. Kurlek. I have always stated that one of the good things of these times was the valiant Venlil military successfully negotiating the release of our citizens after the humans had to step back to deal with their predatory fight-or-flight stampede. But that doesn't answer the question. Surely, after the horrors our families have suffered, such human integration might be considered insensitive. Valak. Apparently, those poor souls disagree. The clinics with the highest recovery success rates also have the highest percentages of human volunteers, not to mention the success of Director Andes in rehabilitating rescued pups. Maeve and I have been doing our part in helping by volunteering at the Hidden Plains facility, Maeve, which you can sign up for by contacting Sam Kurlek. Yes, we've all seen the videos of hissing, growling pups being declared predator disease-free. This has been an enlightening conversation on this new reality our herds face ourselves in. Do you have any last words for those who may be dealing with herd members who have been smitten by this predator fever? Maeve. We ask nothing of the Venlil, not even your acceptance. If you wish to shun and isolate us, that is your decision and you are welcome to it. But we will continue helping, defending, and healing our first friends in this wide galaxy. Valak. Also, we'd like to thank Kurlek and Alice for inspiring us to have this interview. Scene. Upon this last statement, Kurlek has a reaction for the first time, ears and tail moving in a worried fashion, before the video cuts back to the studio, with a freeze-frame picture of Valak in his more animated moment, next to Kurlek, who is once again staring at the camera. Kurlek. Absolutely shocking stuff. Valak's previous herd members and acquaintances have described him as a peaceful, empathetic soul who would never even hurt a flower bird. In just 4 short months, predator fever has seemingly infected this poor member of our society. I can only hope for his quick recovery. Scene. Overlaid image switches one again to a picture of the logo used by Tarva's political party. Kurlek. But how high in government does this predator fever go? We've always asked why humans' initial contact went the way that it did. Why did Tarva choose to fire upon our allies with no explanation? Why did the so-called Governor Tarva choose to lock down all communications through executive decree, forcing us to lose connections with our friends and family amongst the Federation? Many have argued that this state of war we find ourselves in is in part because of these actions, that ambushing the Federation with the Predator's existence contributed to our current reality. Scene switches to the close-up view once again. Kurlek. Originally, I believed this to be an attempt by Tarva to maintain control, an excuse to lock down an authoritarian control on discussion and outwards influence during a period where her political popularity was waning. That the arrival of humans was a perfect cover to enact authoritarian limits on communication as well as isolating us from the Federation against the wishes of the Venlil public. But is this a more sinister predator plot of mind control against the Venlil's wishes? What I'm to show you right now is exclusive, never-seen-before footage that will shock you. Scene. Switches to a shaky, unsmoothed video clearly being held by hand. It shows the outside of a Venlil Prime government building. with the person operating the camera seemingly crouching in some bushes. The whispering and heavy breathing of the owner of the camera can be heard. The view zooms in on a window, showing the interior. Governor Tarva and UN Ambassador Noah can be seen talking. A few moments of this follows before both Tarva and Noah embrace in a loving kiss. Scene! The sound of an unknown Venlil shouting, "Oi, what are you doing there?" can be heard in the background as the camera view starts to move and shake, the visuals becoming a jumbled blur as the sound of running and conflict can be heard before the video cuts off. Scene. Once again cuts back to the newsroom. This time Kurlek is surrounded by two guests, a Venlil and a Gojid. Kurlek. Absolutely worrying stuff. Is this the sign that our governor is under the controlling thrall of predator fever? With us to discuss this is Slavek, a representative from the exchange partnership. Scene asterisk, Slavek gives a tail wag of affirmation as his name is stated. Kurlek and Ogul, head of the Institute for We're All Going to Die Because of Humans. Scene. Ogul gives a wave of a clawed hand at his name being called, while Slavek's ears swivel in confusion at the name of the organization. Slavek whispers, "Wait, what?" Kurlek. So the first issue that comes to mind is a simple but worrying question. Does this mean Governor Tarva is no longer in a fit mental state to lead the Venlil people? Slavek. Of course this changes nothing. Regardless of the relevant details of Tarva's personal life, the goal of the government always will be the same, the sanctity of all sapient, empathetic life. Ogul. How can you suggest that this has no impact? Clearly, Tarva has always been under the predatory mind control influence, explaining her predatory actions. She needs to step down immediately. Scene. Slavek's tail starts swishing in a disbelieving movement, seemingly momentarily Slavic. Mind control? Are you serious or just high on bliss? Kurlek. Now, some experts have suggested that humans' predator-based tones in their voices might have an influencing impact on decision-making. Scene. Ogul starts to become more animated, arms waving as they begin to rant. Ogul. Exactly. How else can we explain this sudden willingness for Federation members to jump into the clutches of predators, getting into relationships with them, even same-sex pairings? You go to the capital, and it's a sea of rainbow-colored socks. The tones in the human voices are turning the friggin' Venlil gay. Scene. Both Slavek and Kurlek show signs of annoyance and shock with small, sharp tail movement. Slavek. You're actually serious. If humans had the ridiculous power you're suggesting, why didn't they use it against the Federation? Why are we even discussing this right now? Ogul. Because the predators want us to fight. Why else would they fake the Solani revelations? They want to turn those of us who they deem as pets into flesh-eaters like them to fight against the rest of the Federation. Scene. Kurlek's annoyance seems to have grown with further tail movements, voice turning more stern in order to try and gain more control over the situation. Kurlek. Bringing us a little back on track, there are many arguments that Tarva's original actions made later relations with the Federation worse. Illogical actions such as firing on the Gojid defense fleet. Illogical actions that could be explained by impaired judgment from speaking with the humans. Slavek. Are you suggesting that the Federation was forced into the actions they took? That the immoral actions of torture and genocide wouldn't have started if a few harmless warning shots weren't fired? Did humans also force the Federation to genetically alter species? The fact is, no matter what, this reaction was going to happen. Ogul. For once, I agree with Slavek. The Federation and war heroes like Kalsim were always going to do the noble thing, and Scene, Kurlek cuts off Ogul forcefully. Body language showing worry at the potentially illegal support of genocidal ideals that his guest was attempting to move to. Kurlek. Against the Herd would like to remind all viewers that we do not support the illegal non-Federation sanctioned attack on Earth and follow all Venlil laws on broadcasting. Bringing us closer to the topic at paw, many would suggest that if Tarva has predator fever, then she no longer can make decisions for the best interests of the Venlil people. Slavek. Tarva has always taken the actions most suited for the Venlil people. In these difficult times, the goals for the empathetic humans and the Venlil are very often entwined, making scene. Ogul continues to get more irate, standing up from their seat and interrupting Slavek loudly. Ogle, how can you actually believe that? The humans attacked the cradle, have allied with the Arxur. They have forced their evil meat farms onto the Venlil as they devour the galaxy. Slavik, none of that is true and... Ogle, do you believe that lab-grown meat even exists? Clearly, they've just been disappearing those of us who still have the sense to be anti-predator. That's why they've all been going missing from the exterminator's office, why they want the ex-cattle from the Arxur. They're gonna farm all of us without... Scene. Wise Mike suddenly gets cut as Kurlik's body language turns more furious at the out-of-control Gojid. Kurlik, can you please not interrupt like a madman with predator disease? This is a respectable program. Please continue, Slavik. The fact of the matter is, these relationships have been reportedly overwhelmingly positive, reducing stampede likelihood and other fear-related medical issues. Whether these rumors about Tarva are true or not, there is no reason why this would have any effect on the amazing work being done by the government during this difficult time. I would have thought Kurlik, of all people, would know such a thing, considering the pictures of Alice and... Scene. One again, the mention of Alice causes concern to swish around on Kurlik's tail language, and the Kurlik... We are not here to talk about unsubstantiated rumors, just hard facts at the travesty of a time we see ourselves in, a travesty many put as the fault of the Venlils, and by extension Tarva's relationship with the predators. Thank you for your time, both Slavik and Ogle. We'll go to a commercial break, then we'll be speaking with a member of the opposition party about these new revelations and 10 ways you can tell if a member of your herd is inflicted with predator fever. Scene, camera zooms out on the now muted scene of 3 figures, Ogle still animatedly yelling at nobody, as the Against the Herd logo appears. End of transcript. Continued in transcript 77888830011336.